Hi. Hi. Welcome to the first episode of Coffee Talk, a series where I make coffee, drink coffee, and talk things mental health. Feel free to make a coffee along with me. Feel free to watch this as you drink your coffee, especially this one being the first episode. Feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments about anything. This first episode is about 3 ways you must first meet yourself before anyone else can, and before you can meet anyone else. But first, coffee. At the moment, I'm just drinking the usual brand of coffee. I don't know what it is. I found this brand at a store nearby that I've been liking, and having an espresso machine, none of these have been awfully wrong, which seems to be the case with a lot of coffees. Like certain coffees, I'll have an amazing coffee, and then the next one's absolutely horrible, and I don't know what I did different because I did nothing different. But with this one, I've not had any of this problem at all. Today I will stick with 17.84 grams. I've been doing 17.75 and they're still a little bit watery, but they taste delicious. So I'm by no means a master of the espresso or coffee in general. I'm just a fan, an aficionado. Now don't judge the setup either. Instead of having a cute little spray bottle, I must use cutlery, make it wet, and well, wet my beans. So the first point in today's episode is love. No one can ever love you until you love yourself first. And you've probably been told that before, right? When you're single, you gotta learn to love yourself for someone to come along. And I think we miss the message. I think we mean you're meant to, like we think, oh, I'm supposed to love myself to the degree a lover would. I'm supposed to have this euphoric passion towards myself. When in reality, learning to love yourself while you're on your own or with someone just means self-acceptance, self-respect, self-appreciation, and self-compassion. And that's what loving yourself is. Because here's the thing, until you learn all the weird little ways that you are amazing and lovable, you'll never believe anyone else telling you that. Until you learn to accept your image, you'll never believe anyone else telling you you're hot as fuck, even though they're telling you. Until you learn to love your little quirkiness or the things that you do that you think are weird, anyone else would judge. Well, no one else will be able to tell you it's cute unless you actually start believing it too. Will someone be able to love you? Yes, absolutely. And they will love you like this, but you won't believe them. So you must learn to love yourself before anybody else will be able to love you. That doesn't mean they won't. It just means that you'll never believe it, and then you'll have more problems with that. Because the whole time you'll be questioning, well, do you? Oh, do you love me? Oh, do you mean the truth when you say that? And maybe you'll even come up with scenarios where what they're saying to you is a lie, and you choose to not believe it when someone else is opening their hearts to you and fully saying they are being honest. Nice. Okay, good extraction. Now you might think I'm just talking about the good things, but I'm also talking about anything you see as not good. See, the thing is, learning to love yourself is learning to accept yourself, who you are, what you are, everything that comes with you. It's easier to convince yourself to like the good things about yourself. But I'm telling you, you gotta learn to accept and therefore kind of love even the messy things about yourself. Because otherwise you'll constantly think there is a problem. You will constantly think there's a problem. You'll never accept anyone else telling you opposite of that because you don't accept it yourself. And you'll think that they think so too when they don't. So what it is you have to learn to accept. Accept who you are, accept everything that you are, accept what you show up with. The more you know who you are and what you want, the more you can show up and just be that and be like, do you like it? Great, awesome. And don't get me wrong, people will still teach you that there's more that is lovable to you than you think. I think I've always had a good self-awareness, self-acceptance. And yet, until my current partner, Reina, I still didn't accept a lot of things about my ADHD, about who I am, about how I talk, how I behave. I remember in the beginning, I kept apologizing for just talking. I was like, hey, I'm so sorry if I get sucked into telling you a story. It's just that's my bad thing, my ADHD. And then she was like, I actually kind of love it when you talk all the time. And then I was like, wait, what? From just, all the other times in my life where people were just telling me to shut the fuck up or stop talking about myself or stop connecting to the story, which is a whole different thing. ADHD/neurodivergent people, I think we tend to bring our story up in conjunction to the story being told as a way to show that we can understand, that we empathize, that we know what it's like. And a lot of people can take it badly and think that, well, we're just taking it and talking about ourselves, but it really comes from a good place. Anyhow, until her, I thought that was a bad thing about myself. And then I was like, oh wait, I'm actually actually kind of amazing. So all that to say, you gotta learn to love you, all the good, all the bad about you, in order for anyone to be able to love you. But not just for anyone to be able to love you. The real point that you might miss is in order for you to believe them, in order for you to accept that love. There's that quote, we accept the love we think we deserve. What is that? Perks of being a wallflower? I think it is. So the day you start to love yourself and actually see everything about yourself, the good, the bad, and everything in between, which honestly, I don't think bad is a good word for it because it's too black or white. The whole thing is kind of the good, the messy. That's better. The good, the messy, the good, the different about yourself. Until you learn to love and accept all of that. All of it. Love it. Accept it. Welcome it. And praise it within yourself, well, then you'll never let anyone else confirm to you the opposite. If ever you're waiting on someone to love you so much to the point where you'll finally believe you're lovable, it's never gonna happen. Not because no one will love you that much, but because they've been doing it. People in your life have been loving you that much, and you still don't think it. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's the first point. Now the second point is about your strengths and weaknesses. You're great and you're bad. You're light and you're dark. I always finish my coffee with a little bit of cold water. Burnt my tongue too many times, and I'm too impatient to wait for it to actually cool down on its own. And it doesn't ruin the flavor, I'm telling you. So, I don't know, from me to you. And if it does, I don't give a shit. Happy coffee talk. So, you're light and you're dark. You're good and you're bad. You're amazing and you're horrible. It all comes down to self-acceptance, to accepting it. And why that is a point of how you must get there for anybody else to do it, but also in this particular case, is you must get there in order to be able to show up for anybody else. You have to learn to face your light and your dark, to have this conversation with yourself about all the bad things. Until you learn to have that conversation with yourself, you'll never be able to have that conversation with someone else. Not just about yourself, not just having them have a conversation about you with you, having a conversation about the dark between you two. Because if all you do is run from your dark, if you're not someone that's willing to accept yourself and face those things and talk about them in a non-judgmental way, then you're asking of someone to go through challenging things with you without the option of knowing that you can work through it together, that you can actually discuss your way through, that you can take action, you can come up with solutions to get through it together. Because if all you do is shut off all the bad things, then this other person doesn't have someone else. They don't have you as a person to bounce off of. You'll only ever be able to show up for someone else in the way that you show up for yourself. You will only ever be able to accept someone showing up for you in the way that you accept showing up for yourself. In this case, my situation is a bit different. In my trauma, I went the full extreme. I learned to fully know everything about myself, face everything about myself. It's a control thing. If I know everything bad about me, you can't hurt me with it. If I know everything bad about me, I can work through it. I can make myself okay for this. Now that's not good either. It was the extreme. But trauma and stories and all that. Showing up for myself is the way I've been able to show up for everyone. I've been doing this mental health content for over 4 years now, but I was doing that before too. I was a teacher for some time. I was a rock climbing instructor for some time. And every single time, I still managed to teach things about mental health. Teach people how to get through challenging things. And that's only because this whole time, I was also doing it for myself. But where that becomes difficult is where people haven't met themselves on the other end. So that's why the second one, the only way for you to be able to meet someone there, whether it's for a shared issue or your issue or their issue, for you to be able to meet someone else there, you have to fully accept yourself. That doesn't mean accept and not change. You can accept something knowing that you want to change it. That's literally part of changing it. You have to accept that it is where you're at. You can't change something if you're not accepting outright the thing you're trying to change away from. If you're trying to deny the place you're at, but you know you want to get to somewhere else, well, you're somewhere now that you have to accept, that you have to be able to say and face and consider. So far we have love. You cannot love someone more than you learn to love yourself, and you will never accept someone's love more than you are willing to love yourself. Second one, your strengths and your weaknesses. The more you learn to see everything about you and accept everything about you, the more you can show up with everything that is you, good, bad, bright, messy, all of that. The more you can show up with everything, the more you can work with someone else. Put everything you have on the table, and then everyone knows what we're working with. But if you yourself aren't willing to look in that back pocket, well, no one else knows that we have this thing. And sometimes that is the thing itself that ends up bringing a whole lot of mess on the table. Number 3, self-respect, more so boundaries. So far, you've learned to love yourself. You've learned to see yourself for all the good and the bad and everything in between and accept it all without judgment. You can choose to change things, but without judgment, accepting what you are, what you have been through, and everything about all that. Once you have the love and the acceptance, then you can get to the respect. If I love me, I respect myself a lot more already. If I accept everything that is me, then I know where to make sure I'm respected. And that shows up in your boundaries. Someone that doesn't love themselves or someone that doesn't accept everything about themselves will not know where to set the line. They'll know how to set some lines, sure, right? Don't punch me in the face is a pretty simple line to set. But only when you actually fully learn to love yourself, appreciate yourself, and learn to accept everything about yourself, that's when you'll know where the boundary actually is. That's when you'll know this one here is the breaking point. Let's not get there. Let's not get past that. Let's not even get close to it. That is the limit. But also, in a beautiful way, as you learn your boundaries, you'll also learn which ones can be bent. Sometimes against your own will, but I think that's part of the whole point I'm trying to make in this video. It's you are constantly reassessing everything. You constantly reassess the love for yourself. You constantly reassess the acceptance for yourself, everything that it is that you're accepting about yourself. And then you constantly reassess your boundaries. With where I currently am, as I have just reassessed, are these boundaries still fitting? Do I want to bend this one or do I not? Do I want to stay away from it? The hardest part about the self-respect bit and the boundaries is understanding that losing people is not the worst thing. Understanding that keeping people in your life that go against your boundaries is worse. Keeping people in your life that take you out of your comfort, that take you out of your safety zone, that's worse. That's much more damaging than losing them. So the part about the boundaries isn't just setting the boundaries. It's learning to set your boundary and then say, if you're not cool with this, bye, thank you. It's been fun or not, but goodbye. I don't need this. We don't need to do this. Let's not waste our time. This is a place where in my life I've been even called heartless in some cases. How can you say goodbye so easily? But in reality, sadly, it's because of all the hard ways that I had to learn to love myself, all the hard ways I had to learn to accept everything about myself and my life and my story and my mind. And then too many people going against that. So I cut a lot of ties. I burned a lot of bridges, said goodbye to a lot of people, knowing I would never talk again, or that if we did, it would be the most surface conversation. So yeah, sure, to someone who hasn't met themselves like that, it might come off heartless. To someone who has met themselves though, when you make a point of your boundaries, they will respect it. And if they are someone that cannot respect that boundary, because that just also happens, your boundary, someone else's boundary might be complete opposite. Well, someone that's done that same level of work on themselves will be able to say, holy shit, hey, you respect your thing, I respect mine, and have a good one. Not all goodbyes are bad goodbyes. So those are the 3 ways you must first meet yourself in order to meet anyone else. In order to meet them where they are, but also in order for them to meet you where you are. You gotta learn to love yourself. Everything about you, not just the great things. Loving yourself is not the euphoric passion love that we imagine a romantic partner would have, because even that's not realistic. Loving yourself is going, you, this fucked up thing. God damn it, I love you. And if you have kids or pets, I feel like you can understand my feeling. Because my dog is exactly that. I go, you fucking thing, I love you so goddamn much. You drive me crazy. You hurt me daily. How the fuck do I love you this much? But my heart beats faster when I look at her, when I pet her. I kind of have the feeling a kid is the same. Sometimes they go against you and they make you really question everything, but you just feel that love. If you have a kid or a pet, maybe you understand what I'm saying or you relate to that feeling. But that's the way that you must learn to love yourself. You also must learn to love yourself the way you love your best friend. That's the place where this one loops to the self-respect one. A lot of people go, I know I should love myself the way I love my best friend, but I just can't. I don't see why. Well, that's exactly the whole point. That's why you gotta learn to get there. You gotta learn to love yourself like that, so that after that, you respect yourself so much to say, of course I will love myself the way I love my best friend. I have to. I will not accept any other version of that from myself. So, learn to love yourself. And then you learn to accept all the things about yourself. Accept all the good, all the bad, all the everything in between, messy, amazing, dreamlike, and hell-like. All of that, you learn to accept it. You learn to take all those things out of your pockets and put them all on the table and say, this is who I am. You want to be in my life? This is who I am. Do you want this in your life? And will you respect who I am? Are you willing to help me work on those things that I want to work? Oh, here, this piece here, it's damaged and I know it and I want to fix that. Are you willing to be there? Are you capable of being there while I do that? Or should we stay apart? Should I save you from all that because that is something that's not okay with you? Because the thing about all that is, fuck, you can learn to love yourself, respect yourself, appreciate yourself, and accept yourself all you want. You're just gonna meet people that don't match that. And you might be like, fuck, otherwise we would be so good. And you're tempted to give up on yourself. But that's when you gotta go, wait, maybe we aren't so good. Those 3 points are important. You have to be able to show up for someone when they come at you and say something negative about you to your face. I'm talking about a partner or a best friend, a family member that is coming at you, not in an attacking way, someone just wanting to work through something with you, saying something to you that is a big flaw, problem, issue. Having the ability to hear it, to say, I know it, I'm aware of it, okay, what do we do about it? Or having the ability to go, oh shit, fuck, that's one I didn't know about. Okay, what's everything I need to know? And then looking back at it, doing all your work, all your introspective work about it. But the whole thing is your acceptance is the only way that you'll even hear that from someone else. That doesn't mean believe everyone else. It's the only way you'll hear it. And then with your self-love, self-respect, self-acceptance, you can actually take an unbiased look at yourself and be like, yes, that is absolutely right. They're saying something that's valid. Or they know nothing about me, and that is not the case. And the very last one, self-respect. Making sure you don't keep anyone in your life that breaks any of your boundaries. Making sure that you set the most important boundaries for yourself. And making sure that you somehow set a boundary against yourself about not having boundaries. It feels like everyone that's afraid to set boundaries has that boundary in a way. I don't want to set boundaries. I won't set boundaries. It makes everyone go away. Well, that's a boundary you're setting on yourself. So you do have a boundary. So the only boundary you put against yourself is to say, I will never set a boundary against myself. I don't know how that works. Ouroboros, it feels? I don't fucking know. Anyways, those are the 3 ways that you must meet yourself first in order for anyone else to meet you there. No one else will respect your boundaries if you don't respect them. No one else will accept everything about you if you don't accept it. No one else will love you to their full capacity if you don't learn to love yourself to your full capacity. All 3 of those, someone else can. Someone else can respect you. Someone else can accept everything about you. And someone else can love you to their full capacity. But in all 3 cases, you will be absolutely blind to it, because if you don't do it first, you won't believe it. To conclude everything, you can only ever meet someone as deeply as you are willing to meet yourself. So this was episode 1 of Coffee Talk. It's very difficult to drink a coffee and talk. Maybe I'll figure that one out as we do it. If you enjoyed this, please like the video and leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts about this. Do we keep it going? Is there a subject you want to talk about? There's going to be a section in the future episodes that's me addressing some of the comments. So if your comment happens to be a fitting question with the theme of the next one, well then I'll get to bring it up, answer it. So feel free to let me know your thoughts or questions. Subscribe if you want more. And if you're in a good place for some more mental health stuff, well, you can go ahead and watch this video right there and enjoy more of me just sharing some more mental health things and making you question everything about your mind in a good way, of course. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one, okay? Well, at least it got cold enough.